a 20-minute story of the Nigerian Civil War, the road to silence. The first time Chukwudi heard the word war, it did not sound like thunder or gunfire. It sounded like a whisper passed between adults when they thought children were not listening. It sounded like fear, carefully folded into everyday conversations, between the clatter of plates, the hiss of kerosene lamps, and the distant call to evening prayer drifting from the north. Chukwudi was 15 in 1966, tall for his age, with curious eyes that missed very little. He lived with his family in Enugu, the coal city, where red earth stained sandals and the air often smelled of smoke and industry. His father, Mr. Akori, worked as a clerk in the regional government. His mother, Mama Ngozi, sold gari and palm oil in the market. Life was not easy, but it was predictable until it was not. Nigeria was young then, only a few years after independence. People spoke proudly of unity, but the cracks were already deep. Ethnic tensions simmered beneath the surface between Igbo, Hausa Fulani, Yoruba, and many others, made worse by politics, corruption, and fear. When the first coup happened in January 1966, people gathered around radios in stunned silence. Soldiers had killed leaders. The country trembled. Then came the counter-coup in July. This time, the violence spilled into the streets. News arrived from the north of massacres, of Igbo families attacked, homes burned, lives erased overnight. Refugees poured into the east with nothing but bundles of clothes and hollow eyes. One evening, Chukwudi watched his father close the radio slowly, as though the wrong movement might break it. "We may have to leave Nigeria," Mr. Akori said quietly. Mama Ngozi froze. "Leave? Where would we go?" "Home," he replied, "to ourselves." By 1967, the eastern region declared itself the Republic of Biafra. People flooded the streets in celebration, waving flags of red, black, and green, with a rising sun at the center. There was hope, fragile but powerful, that Biafra would be safe, that it would protect its people. Chukwudi felt it too. For the first time, the future seemed clear. But hope does not stop bullets. When the guns began, the war began in July 1967. At first, it felt distant, like a storm rumbling far away. Radios announced battles in places Chukwudi had never visited. Adults spoke in hushed tones. Soldiers marched through Enugu with stiff confidence, their boots pounding the roads. Then the planes came. The first bombing shook the ground so hard that Chukwudi fell from his chair. Windows shattered. Smoke climbed into the sky like a dark prayer. People ran. Enugu was no longer safe. The Akori family joined the long line of refugees moving south and east toward villages and forests. They walked for days, carrying what little they could. Chukwudi carried his younger sister, Amaka, on his back when her legs gave out. Mama Ngozi tied her belongings into a single cloth, including her Bible and a photograph from better days. They settled in a village near Umuahia, sleeping in a school building crowded with dozens of other families. At night, the air was thick with crying. Children hungry, mothers grieving, men whispering prayers to a God who felt very far away. Food became scarce. Gari was rationed. Protein disappeared. Children's bellies swelled, and their hair turned a pale, rusted color. Kwashiorkor, they called it. Chukwudi watched Amaka grow thinner each day. "Papa," he said one night, "I can help. Let me do something." His father looked at him for a long time. Then he nodded, becoming a man. At 16, Chukwudi joined the Biafran Civil Defense. He was not given a proper uniform, only oversized trousers and a shirt already torn at the shoulder. His rifle was old, its metal warm and heavy in his hands. Training was brief. "You fight for your people," the commander said, "and you do not run." But everyone ran at some point. Chukwudi learned the sound of danger, the sharp crack of gunfire, the low growl of approaching aircraft, the unnatural silence that followed a bombardment. He learned how to dig trenches, how to sleep lightly, how to step over bodies without screaming. Once, during a skirmish near a river, he saw a Nigerian soldier fall not far from him. The man could not have been older than 20. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second. two boys on opposite sides of a broken country. Chukwudi did not fire. The war dragged on. Towns fell. Biafra shrank. By 1969, hunger had become a weapon. The blockade tightened. Aid planes came at night, slipping through the darkness like ghosts. But it was never enough. Chukwudi sometimes escorted relief workers, watching as starving children lined up, too weak to cry. One afternoon, he returned to the school building where his family stayed. Amaka was lying still. Mama Ngozi held her, rocking back and forth, her voice already hoarse from crying. Mr. Okori sat against the wall, his face empty. Chukwudi did not remember falling to his knees. The end without victory. In January 1970, the war ended. There was no celebration, no triumphant music. Biafra surrendered. Chukwudi stood among other exhausted soldiers as the announcement crackled over the radio. Some men wept. Others stared at the ground. No victor, no vanquished, the federal government declared. But the graves told another story. The Okorie family returned to Enugu months later. Their house had been looted. Their savings were gone. Mr. Okori was given £20 as compensation, no matter how much he had once owned. They rebuilt slowly. Chukwudi returned to school, though he felt older than his teachers. At night, he still heard planes, still smelled smoke that was not there. Years passed. Nigeria moved on, or pretended to. Oil flowed. Cities grew. But the war lived quietly inside those who survived. One evening, decades later, Chukwudi stood before his own children, holding a faded photograph of Amaka. "This," he said, "is why we must remember." "Remember what, Papa?" his son asked. Chukwudi looked out the window, where the sun dipped low, red as the Biafran flag. "That unity without justice is fragile," he said, "and that war is never a story of heroes, only of people who endure." Outside, Nigeria buzzed with life. Chaotic, hopeful, unresolved, and the silence of the past lingered, asking not to be forgotten. End.